But back to today. As we saw the confusion over the Strait of Hormuz, there's still a lot of gap between what the Iranians say they want and what Trump wants. Vice President Vance says there are multiple proposals, but here's the one that has been out there in the media. It requires the U.S. to commit to a non-aggression. Iran would control the Strait of Hormuz. Iran can enrich uranium. All sanctions on Iran and foreign entities that do business with Iran will be lifted. An end to both UN Security Council resolutions targeting Iran and IAEA resolutions on Iran's nuclear program. It also demands compensation for damages and withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region and a total ceasefire on all fronts, including Israel's conflict with Hezbollah. Now, the White House has dismissed that. That plan is nonsense, and it's a complete non-starter.
So let me be clear and correct the record. The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false.
Joining me now is former Pentagon official and Navy veteran Brent Sadler. Brent, thanks for being with us here today. Is that plan just unworthy of our attention? Vice President Vance says there have been several other plans out there, a second, a third draft, other plans that would suggest there's a real potential out of the ceasefire for peace.
Yeah, I mean, anything at this stage in a negotiation that's not got the sanction from the White House should be viewed with high suspicion. And clearly, I think the Iranians and perhaps their supporters or those that want to do political harm to this administration are trying to use it for those purposes and should not be taken seriously. I mean, nothing on that 10-point plan was serious, certainly not serious about having a meaningful ceasefire entered into.
Right. So we can only assume then, if there is negotiations ongoing with an absurdity like that 10-point plan, that is just posturing for perhaps their domestic public. And then, as the White House and Caroline Leavitt has hinted at, they behave much differently in negotiations with President Trump.
Oh, I think that's very clear, and that's true to form for the Iranians for many, many years, quite frankly. But the only leverage they have is, this control, or perceived control, more importantly, over the Straits of Hormuz. Once that evaporates, and quite frankly, the weapons and the attacks on the shipping, about 24 since the start of this conflict, of which really only one ship was very severely damaged. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to basically tell the truth to the lie that they do not control and can seriously threaten the shipping through that strait. So we're going to have to basically call the bluff and evaporate the last bit of leverage that Tehran has.
Brent, do you think this ceasefire will hold? There's already concerns today about what's going on in the Strait. Iran is making noise about what's going on in Lebanon. It's a 2-week ceasefire. Do you expect it to hold?
Well, it has to first get into effect, and it's not clear that it is yet. Some of that is to be expected because the IRGC, which is really the only force of authority in Iran right now, is fragmented and operating at local authority. That we've seen that by the way in which they launch their ballistic missiles and their drones. So there's one part of this is, are they going to be able to honor it and have enough authority out of Tehran if there's also disgruntled factions that don't want to see a peace or any type of ceasefire put into place, could easily break it with attacks anywhere. So it's challenged by all fronts. The odds of it sticking for the full 2 weeks is pretty small in my book.
Okay. Perhaps that means it reaches a premature peace, or perhaps that means it's the resumption of the war. Brent Sadler, thanks so much for being with us here today. Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.